What's our 419? I opened right up to it. Well, it starts with, from page 418, Kuznetsova versus the Kopelovs. Bulletin Verkhovnego Suda RSFSR, 1968, number 6, page 9. Kuznetsova brought suit in court to recover 150 rubles from Kolopolova and Kopelov. In justification of the suit, she pointed out that in April 1967 she transferred 200 rubles to the defendants by a loan contract with the obligation to repay the amount of the debt within a month. However, the defendants repaid only 50 rubles and are avoiding repayment of the balance. Sound familiar? We'll get back to this one. Because which one starts on 419, right? It's important to know what the prologue is. But what are we really dealing with here? Halfway down the page, 419. Notarial practice. Sovetskaya Institutia, 1970, number 14. Page cover. Citizens G and CH requested the Gvardeyski State Notarial Office to certify a contract for the lease of housing. According to the contract, Citizen G leases housing space 49.2 square meters in size for 3 years in a house belonging to him by right of personal ownership. The question arose for the state notary as to which normative act should guide him in certifying such a contract and how to determine the amount necessary for computing the state duty. The Notariate section of the RSFSR Supreme Court explained that in certifying a contract for the lease of housing belonging by right of personal ownership, the notarial office is obliged to be guided by the decree of the RSFSR Council of Ministers on August 9, 1963, number 983, on the maximum rates of payment for housing in Dhaka premises leased in houses in Dhakas belonging to citizens by right of personal ownership. SP RSFSR 1963, number 15, item 102. When determining the amount for computing the state duty, one should have in view that the payment for use of living premises leased to individuals in houses belonging to citizens by right of personal ownership shall be determined by agreement of the parties, but may not exceed the maximum rate, 16 kopecks for 1 square meter of living space per month. Proceeding therefrom, the amount of payment under the contract being taken as an example will constitute 283 rubles, 40 kopecks. For certifying this contract, a state duty in the amount of 11 rubles should be levied, e.g. 3% of 283 rubles, 40 kopecks, and 8 rubles, 50 kopecks for certification of the contract, and 2 rubles, 50 kopecks for technical services. Wow. We'll see, in the Soviet Union, 16 had a very different implication than it does in the United States. It really does. But we're not in the Soviet Union at this time. What this does bring up is a very important matter relating to what it means to put real property under a false claim, especially when there is a material and factually incorrect designation of the real property to begin with. This is why things like zoning laws are very important. It's also why an appropriate appraisal systematology is important. There are different factors regarding appraisal, including consideration of depreciation. See, depreciation is supposed to be computed in regards to an anticipation of the useful life. However, if there is a materially or factually incorrect assessment at the onset, well, then this is going to impact somebody's consideration of not only how long one can use it, but for what use it is to be made available. These are very important considerations. I'm glad we got to page 419, but it also is going to have to go back, apparently, to 418. What did somebody mischaracterize in that loan agreement that allowed for a materially and factually incorrect appraisal to be provided after a misrepresentation of the property of concern, including right of ownership and to which state a duty was due?